What's going on, everybody? Josh Koch, VYPE Media, back here. As you notice, we're all at our homes this week instead of Coach McDowell and Coach Williams being at the school. Coach Williams did not bring his trophy home, though, by the way. We all know. Where is it? Where's the trophy? No trophy.
Now we're even. We're even.
Didn't think about that one.
I do enjoy that Coach McDowell's got some nice is that some nice artwork there or nice pictures of you after some games there? I like that.
This is proof that I used to coach back in the day, like at Side Creek. So, and I think that's that picture is of our huddle after we threw 2 Hail Marys to CeeDee Lamb to win versus Calhoun back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that he remembers that it was 2 Hail Marys to CeeDee Lamb.
Because the first one didn't count. We had to back up and do it again.
Oh, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
I do remember now. We talked about that. We did talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy Coach Williams' background here. We got some little artwork going on. The book Hidden Figures there on the shelf.
Yeah. This is my wife's her office, her work office. So I'm just
She's borrowing it.
Borrowing for a little bit. She's got her She's persistent book over here. So
very nice.
Her books. So
I love it.
It's very nice. All our backgrounds here. Dennis Silva has a nice door there, a little closet, area. I got my bobbleheads here.
Yes.
Ours, me and Dennis, ours background is the same. Our background is the same every week. So that's a little home tour there to start this episode. That's what the people want. The people want to know our backgrounds. It's highly anticipated. Back for another week here on the Coach's Corner. Of course, Coach James Williams, Coach Sean McDowell joining us every single week. Dennis Silva II over there talking all things high school football. We are past the midway point of the season now, week 6 going to week 7. Man, I mean, I think I've talked about this to so many coaches. Like this time last year, I think we've talked about this so much. This time last year, y'all were in week 3 dealing with so much stuff. Is it a bit of a breath of fresh air of just – how far we are into the season? We haven't had to really deal with a lot of things so far this season. I mean, how does this season feel different right now as you're sitting here going into week 7 at the beginning of October when last year there were so many stressors at this point still?
Go ahead, Coach, if you want to take that one.
No, it feels good right now, but, we can't relax. We can't take a breath of fresh air right now because we're still dealing with it. We've had some COVID cases on our team and, knock on wood, we've been blessed the last several weeks. We have not had any cases, but early on in the season, we had some. We had to have some starters miss a game or 2 because of that situation. So it feels good to know we are getting through the season. It's going pretty fast. Like you said, we're already more than halfway through. But definitely can't relax yet. We still got to make sure we're doing our protocols. Still got to make sure we're wearing masks when we have our meetings, and lifting weights and different things like that. We keep our JV team separated from the varsity as much as possible. Our freshman team, keep them all separated as much as we can to make sure in case there is some kind of outbreak or situation that it wouldn't affect the whole team. But, so far so good. I feel good about it. And but like I said, never relaxing yet. Not yet.
For us, I believe it's just a different level of stress. I mean, it's kind of like the stress of we don't have to contract trace or anything like that anymore. But, there's always still that's just another injury thing that could happen, right? Whether you get injured, but you could also get COVID. So you're like, dadgum, So it just is another factor but I feel like it's about as normal probably as we're going to get from here on out. I think this is probably going to be our new normal. Are you sick or are you injured or can you play? And I think the way we're handling now is the future. So it is no different level of stress, I guess, because last year it was like, okay, are we going to have a game and who's going to play in the game? Now it's like, I know we're going to have a game. I'm pretty confident I know who's going to play. We're going to plan and play like we don't have any problems. So that's kind of refreshing, to have. So, which is cool because some of the people we're playing this year, didn't even get to play last year. So
right.
It's almost like brand new for real. So it's awesome. Let's keep going.
I just want to ask you guys from a more broad perspective, big picture type. Do you feel you've had a coaching epiphany of sorts where something where you either like it clicked for you, like you got it, whether schematically or whether dealing with young men or as a coordinator of athletics at your respective schools? Do you feel like there was like an aha moment, like an epiphany moment for you guys as coaches to where like everything clicked and everything kind of went into a more, I don't want to say normal, but a more clear direction, I guess, because you did start to understand something easier or better because it clicked?
Well, I can say for me, there's more early on for me and my career as a head coach. My first year, Marshall, we were 3-7. The year before I got here, I think they had won one game. In my first year, we were 3-7, and this is a different, weird situation because at the time, our district went through a hiring freeze and a rift, and so I was not able to hire. I wasn't able to bring any coaches with me, and I wasn't able to hire any new coaches until the summertime. And so by the time the season started, I didn't have any coordinators. So I was actually, calling 6A football. I was the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator and special teams coordinator that first year. So it was a madhouse, and we're playing real varsity football games with only half a staff. But having that plan to put in place, having the picture of all these years I want to be a head coach, so I'm gathering all this information to prepare myself when I get the opportunity, and the opportunity comes, and you never guess, like, why would my first year being head coach when we have a hiring freeze and a rift? but it was important to get our culture, to get the change going, get our philosophies and beliefs going. And then the second year we ended up being 5-5, just missed making the playoffs. But still making progress, but still it's just a struggle. It's just a fight to get that culture changed around. But that third year is when it all came into place. We went undefeated all the way to the fourth round of the playoffs, and it was okay, what we're doing is working. Okay, what we're doing, what we're believing in is going to be good. It's going to be successful. So we've got to keep building what we're doing, keep locking in, keep staying the course, and then we can let good things happen. And again, that was 2012 when we broke through that year, and we've been pretty consistent. We were up and down initially for the first few years after that, but then we've got caught since 2016. We've caught a good wave, and we're rolling downhill pretty good. We have our systems in place. And even as coaches come and go, we still believe in our system and what we're doing and how we're building our team to whereas, that plan has been in place for a long time, and we're going to continue to do that plan and hopefully keep sharpening it, ironing it, making it better, and hopefully getting better as a program with it. So the epiphany was knowing that what we believed in was actually can be successful, actually will work, can work, just stay the course.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had that moment of clarity or epiphany. I'm just like, dang, that's a pretty good answer. I don't know if I got one. Only because, I think the big thing as a head football coach and kind of campus athletic coordinator, speaking on the football side first, you go to win the district championship, play at Thanksgiving, win a state championship. We've done two of those three. We just haven't won a state championship yet. But I guess the big thing for me was like, I guess the clearest moment is that it's always bigger than football, and a lot of people get away from that sometimes, where like all we do is football, and we're dealing with kids and their issues and their problems and the things that football provide can literally change kids' lives. And I think sometimes we do get away from that. Like we've had kids who busted their tail on the field and busted their butts in classrooms and got nothing. And we've had kids that did nothing classroom, but did all the stuff on the field and get scholarships. We've had kids, do it all and then change the outcome of their generational families by going to college for free. I think that's what it provides. But we also get too caught up in scholarships and just playing football for the right reasons. So I think that epiphany comes into just like you're just dealing with kids and everything changes, and you got to stick what you believe in, and you just got to stay the course regardless of what that might look like. And us as the leader have to be able to sway and move and ebb and flow with the tide and just keep going and hire good people and let them do their thing. And then, and you got to be a leader as far as all the other sports on campus too. And that comes to hiring good people, letting them getting out of their way and being there for them, but I'm still looking for that really moment of clarity that Coach Wade is talking about. That sounds pretty cool.
What is the balance between being a head football coach and also being campus athletic coordinator? And can you give people maybe an insight into the duties and responsibilities? Because I think people don't understand you basically have two significant jobs in one. And you're also trying to run your own program, run your own team, while also overseeing and adhering to the demands and whatever the needs of other programs in your school. What is that like, and how do you balance that? And how have you guys evolved as campus athletic coordinators since you've been in that role?
Well, I'll tell you, on my end, I have a football staff of 15 coaches. If you want to include the athletic trainers, that's 17 because we have 2 athletic trainers. But I have like 47 coaches total on staff. And I have an assistant campus coordinator, Coach Hunter, this is her second year to help out. But I don't have a secretary or anything like that. I know Coach Williams doesn't. And really it comes down to, number one is communication and letting them know that you're there for them, what the rules are, trying to get in front of problems that happen before it happens. But basically knowing where to look for resources and not afraid to ask for help. Like I have great ADs for questions, and they really charge us into kind of being our campus AD while they're the district AD, but really being in charge of campus. Hiring good people, letting them do their job and get out of the way is a big deal. And then just making sure that you're there for them when they do need you. And the big thing for me is communication and being visible, not just in the hallways, but through email, always being able to be reached on my phone. There's no having 2 ways of communication that they know that they can call and ask questions and, know what we expect, and that's to do a good job and do right by kids. So that's pretty much the secret for me.
Yeah, I can kind of echo that as well. On my campus, I always consider, this way. I want to help my coaches be the best they can be. I want to do what I can to help them, whether developing as coaches, whether it's helping lead their program as leaders. I want to be there to help them. I want to lead them, guide them, be there for assistance whenever necessary. And like Coach said, communicate, big time communicating. I have a huge, respect and thank you to my administration. My lead principal, Dr. Sanders, is phenomenal. And, she allows me to take care of our athletic end of things. If there's an issue or something going on, she allows us to handle it in the athletic area, and then she'll get involved if it needs to go further than that. But we take ownership in it. We take great pride in our athletic department and across the board in all sports. Some people think it's just football and track or basketball, but it's across the board. We want success and train our kids to be disciplined in all sports, train fundamentals and coach fundamentals in all sports. And like I said, it starts with your administration to school and the support they give you. And, we love it. They're at everything we're doing. They support us in everything we're doing. And it's a very positive environment. When I cannot thank my administration, Dr. Sanders, and her administration enough for the support they give us. Also, like Sean said, my assistant coordinator, Brandy Cross has been great. She's a go-getter. During football season, she picks up more of the load because this is my season, knowing I have a lot of football things to worry about. So she takes it and runs with it and does a phenomenal job there. It's truly a team. Like Sean was saying, it's truly a team, with your assistant coordinator, and we work together and again to try to do everything we can for our coaches, and me as far as getting better in that aspect is, there are a lot of things that, 10 years ago or, 5-8 years ago, I would really stress me out, ruin my whole weekend, ruin my whole night, things that go on. But I've learned to kind of handle things a bit better. Understand what things are the ones to stress about or worry about as opposed to other things that happen. And, at the end of the day, just do the best you can, do it the right way, and everything's going to be okay. So I'm definitely learning a lesson. I'm definitely a lot better right now than I was a while ago when I first started. But, I want to get better and continue to lead. And one thing that, I've learned and through leadership is building leaders helps build your entire program. The more leaders you have in a program, the more people are leading their programs, the better you're going to be overall. So, we really want to try to build leaders. And my district athletic director, Dina Scott, is huge on leadership and building leaders and doing that same thing across our entire campuses, all of our campuses in Fort Bend. So we continue to do that and hopefully continue to get better. It's never good enough. We're just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, and I would say, too, is that as a aspiring head football coaches, campus athletic coordinators, is that it can't be all football all the time. It can be 99.9% of the time, but there's that percentage that you have to do other things when you don't want to do them.
Yeah.
As far as there's issues with swim and basketball and volleyball during football season. You just got to be able to handle it and know when to handle it and be available to handle it. And you got to get the job done, whatever that looks like. It just has to be done. And that's when it comes to is that you got to make sure that you're communicating and leading your staff and allowing them to take care of business when you have to wear those different hats, and it's just sometimes you wear them both at the same time. It is what it is. And I think, you got to trust your people to do their job. And that, like I said, comes with leadership and training them and understanding how we do things. And then, there's no surprises ever if you do it that way,
Right. That makes sense. My last question for tonight is looking at realignment. I know snapshot numbers are due, I guess, unofficially at the end of the month. Next month, they'll release them officially as far as school numbers. And then, of course, February is the big month as far as realigning the districts for the next 2 years for the cycle. How much do y'all pay attention, especially during the football season, to what's about to come for those numbers and keeping an eye on what things may look like? And how much is realignment just overall a part of your thinking and process when it's coming up soon like it is?
For me, it's huge because it doesn't consume me, right? But it's a topic of conversation, probably daily, because we are growing at Foster and we're about 2,200, 2,205. And so 2 years ago, the number for 6A, and that's a big jump, from 5A Division I to 6A is a big jump. Because it just changes you, right? Because the number from 2205 or 2220 to 7,000 is quite a big difference. And so it's a lot of speculation because it does change, especially the way 5A Division I is. There's not that many in the city, right? And so as far as where do people go, where do people fall, a lot of speculation. And the big thing is that you have to kind of speculate who and try to get your games in, your first 3 games. Yeah. So like when I go, I'm calling guys and be like, hey, you want to play about next year? Because I might not have a week 1 or I might need a week 3. So yeah, there's some politicking and some, maneuvering going on right now, when it comes to realignment. You never know what the UIL is going to do. Yeah. I've been doing it 10 years. So that's 5 realignments already, maybe 6. Yeah. So I kind of get the gist of it and how it works. I felt like we were in a realignment year last year trying to find games during COVID. It was terrible. We talked about that. So it's not a huge deal. It doesn't consume me, but it's definitely a topic of conversation because it's always fun to speculate what happens next in the future, So because to be honest with you, that does determine a lot. Yeah. It determines everything because what your district is put in can determine your future. Yeah. So it's fun to speculate about it.
Yes, as long as Sean and Foster keeps going up, I feel great. We'll stay down and we'll be good. But honestly, I don't think about it as much as Sean does because we know we're going to be 5A Division II. We're sitting off 1,500 students, so there's not much concern about moving up. But UIL is so unpredictable. You can sit here and try to speculate what district we may go in, where we may fit, whatever, and it's very seldom ever what you think it's going to be. And that's actually some of the fun about it. You just really don't know. So it really hypes up the anticipation of saying, okay, what are the numbers everybody's turning in? Okay, what are the possibilities of who's going up, who's going to be down with us, and then get to February and get in that room and everybody's anxious waiting for that 9 o'clock to hit to pass out the packets and find out where we're going to be in. So it's important. I like it. I don't know if any other state does it like this. Every 2 years, you're switching possible districts and moving around. I think it's great. I think it makes it, it's an opportunity to play different people, different stadiums, different districts, travel different places. And I think it's really great. And just, anxious to see, eventually down the line where we're going to end up. But I don't know about daily thinking about it, but it's just definitely something that's on our mind. And we'll just have to see what happens.
I just want to know, what the war room looks like inside the UIL building to do this, because if you think about it, all the high schools in the state of Texas and all the new high schools that keep getting built and built and built. Someone in UIL is going, please stop building high schools. Please. We have to keep finding spots for them. But the districts are keep growing, the communities keep growing and everything like that. And like what Coach McDowell was saying about 6A, and they even talked about this back in August at the state of the UIL, 7A is coming. It's not if it's going to happen, it's going to be when is it going to happen, because that gap of 2,200, you're that fringe of a 6A to an Allen that's sitting there at 7,000 students is a big gap, and it's going to be very interesting. I think it won't happen this realignment. I don't think it's going to happen in 2024. Potentially 26. That's when we'll see Class 7A. And by the way, if you go on VYPE.com, I was a madman a few months ago and created a Class 7A for the city of Houston. Yeah. So,
it's crazy too to think about it. All the schools that even get realigned and then they opt up, or they try to change districts and stuff. You can't. Man, whatever. Just roll the dice. Let's go to work. So.
I just enjoy that morning, right? That. We're sitting here in 21, and it's like the website crashes, and the packet is the only thing that you can look at, and we're all sitting there scrambling, flipping through pages, going, what district? And us, the media, we're sitting there watching the coaches react to it, and then everyone's going, I need a game. It's the greatest morning ever from our standpoint, because we're not stressing about it. We're just enjoying enjoying the show.
I'll never forget in 2016 realignment. I'm looking at Region 3, and I can't find us at all. And my phone is blowing up, being like, go buy a lottery ticket, you lucky dog. You go. I'm like, and then I look over, and everybody's like, you're in Region 4. And I turn over, I'm like, talk about
Christmas.
That's what I'm talking about. So man, that was 2016 was an awesome year.
A lot of travel though.
Well worth it, my brother. Well worth it.
Fuel up the bus. I'm still just working on that week 1 Foster versus Fort Bend Marshall game. I'm still working on it. Maybe eventually.
Hey,
maybe eventually.
Me too. It ain't gonna happen.
I'm running for that one. I learned my lesson in 2014 and 15.
Those are fun games, though. I'll admit, those were fun to go to. So,
for you,
he's like, for you, not for me. Oh man! All right. Well, we will move on from realignment. That'll be fun coming up in February. We might have to do like a live coaches show from like the realignment as we get all the new districts in and everything. That could be fun.
Yes, sir.
It'll be fun. All right, so let's get to the pick'em. That's what America is waiting for now as we head into this week. The standings, it's getting interesting now. Coach McDowell has taken the lead.
Nice.
5-0 last week. Undefeated last week. Moves him up to 23-7. Coach Williams 4-1 on the week, 22-8. Dennis Silva comes in at 4-1. He's 21-9. And I'm back here at 19-11, just hanging on to the very end, trying to catch up. But I didn't do myself any favors with that Tompkins pick last week, which no one DM'd me, so that was good. All right, so let's get to it this week. First game off the books, or on the books, quite a few teams and districts off this week. We'll start with the Woodlands taking on Willis. Both feature rising 2024 quarterback prospects and Derek Lagway of Willis. Willis got beat Klein Collins a few weeks ago. The Woodlands looking good. This is a big game in this district, being only a 6-team district. There's only 4 spots to get into the playoffs. Really, it's a must-win every week. So we'll go the Woodlands versus Willis. Who do you have?
I'll go. I think this is a tough one. Willis is playing really good football this year. They beat some good teams. Like I said, beat Klein Collins a week ago. They beat A&M Consolidated. They had a good game against Tomball the first game of the year. They're doing a great job over there. But I think the Woodlands are back. They're doing a great job of what they're doing. They played Katy very, very tough a few weeks ago. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Woodlands with this one. Good game. Willis is definitely coming on, but I like the Woodlands in this one.
Yeah, I agree. My gut tells me the Woodlands, not taking away anything from Willis. Obviously, they're having a heck of a season, doing a great job making those leaps and bounds. that you want to see. But I think the Woodlands would be too tough. They're pretty battle-tested going against Katy and them. So my gut's telling me the Woodlands, so I'm going to go with it. I picked the Woodlands.
Yeah, I'm going the Woodlands too. They were, one play away against Katy pretty much. They were right there the whole way, just could not get anything going offensively consistently, which, not a lot of teams can against Katy. So, but the Woodlands was impressive. Their quarterback's impressive. Defensively, they were really strong, which kind of surprised me. I knew their offense would be pretty well, but the defense is pretty impressive as well. So I'm going to Woodlands.
Well, I still got to catch up in the pick'ems. I got to see Willis in person. Derek Lagway is legit. He's a young quarterback. He makes amazing throws down the field. He's a big time quarterback. Got an offer from LSU this past weekend. Has an offer from Baylor already. I'm going to go Willis. I think the Willis Wildcats are going to make a statement this week. I think they're going to beat the Woodlands. I think their defense flies around. I'm interested to see what they can do against that Woodlands offensive line, because the offensive line of the Woodlands is big. It's a big offensive line. But I really like what Willis has got a little swag right now. They got some swag, and let's see if it's real. So big test for the Willis. It's at Woodlands. So but I'm gonna go with the Willis Wildcats. I'm gonna give the Cats the victory here this week. Next one is Atascocita takes on Summer Creek. Summer Creek coming off their first loss of the season. They lost to C. King. Atascocita, they beat up on Kingwood last week. So Atascocita versus Summer Creek, kind of a rivalry game here in the area. Who do you have?
I learned a long time ago to not bet against Atascocita, so I'm going to go with Atascocita on this. Love my boy Kenny Harrison and Summer Creek. I think they're doing a great job, but I think the Eagles of Atascocita might be too much for them boys, so I'm going to go with Atascocita.
I like that. I like that as well. Atascocita is playing strong. They had the unfortunate loss a couple weeks ago, but they came right back last week. Summer Creekers was scoring a lot of points. Ran into a very good C King team last week and took that loss. But they're going to come back. They want to get back on track. But I think Atascocita is too strong this year. Really good job playing physical football. I'm looking forward to hopefully in a few weeks against North Shore, those guys. But we'll go with Atascocita for this week.
Yeah, I'm going to Atascocita too. But man, I was looking at Summer Creek this week, CE King next week, and then they got North Shore. That's a pretty That's and considering the non-district schedule they played with Denton Geyer and Allen, that's a pretty that schedule is. I have to imagine it's one of the best, if not the best, put together in the state this year. It's crazy insane. But I'm going with Atascocita. Only because against the teams like Summer Creek and King, I was going to say it could possibly be a trap game, but they're so good they're not going to get overlooked. So they don't have to worry about overlooking the North Shore or even overlooking the King. They have to play and come ready to play against a team like Summer Creek. And I think Atascocita can do that. They're just too talented, and this year just looks to be the year of the Eagles, maybe. I don't know, but they're really good.
Yeah, Atascocita, a slow start last week against Kingwood, then they end up running it out against them. I think 49-7 was the final, something like that. Murderers row for Atascocita. This is going to be a battle-tested team once it gets to the playoffs. This is like a playoff game each week, but I'm going to go Atascocita. I think they're a well-rounded team. For the teams that they've played, like Dennis says, to come out of those first four games 3-1. I was talking to Coach Stump a few days ago after Cam Dewberry got his All-American jersey, and he was saying, he was like, I'm pretty happy to come out of that 3-1. We could have been 2-2, we could have been 1-3. Didn't know what we were going to come out of that, but 3-1 is pretty good. And Gavin Session has balled out, Chase Souls balled out. So I'm going to go Atascocita. I think Atascocita wins this, and this is it's lining up for the collision course for North Shore at the end of the season, which will be the district championship, which is it's going to be really interesting if that's what it comes down to at the end of the season. But I'm going to go Atascocita. So moving on, the next game, it's an interesting 23-6A. Shadow Creek Sharks have started to come on here of late. They've won 3 straight games. Of course, they opened their season against North Shore and Bridgeland. Those were their 2 losses, so that's a tough 2 games to open up with. And then they take on Strake Jesuit this week. So kind of same situation. They're 2-0 in district. Strake Jesuit's 1-1. Strake Jesuit needs this win in district play. Who wins between Shadow Creek and Strake Jesuit?
I'll go with Shadow Creek with this one. I think a very good matchup. I really don't think it's a big opponent versus a small opponent. I think they're both pretty even. Shadow Creek has the advantage athletically and what they've been doing the last couple of years. But I think athletically they'll have that advantage. I think they're both two well-coached teams. Straight Jesuit, again, first year with a new coach, but, they're looking good. They're playing better. But I just think athletically, Shadow Creek could have the advantage there.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I'm going to go Shadow Creek, and I'm going to say it's going to be a pretty tight game. I think Shadow Creek is up and down a little bit. I think they're starting to figure it out, But I know Straight Jesuit is up and down as well. I think it'll be a close game. It'll be tight, but I think Shadow Creek will edge it out at the end. So I'm going to take Shadow Creek on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take Shadow Creek. They have a lot of good momentum going on. Those early 2 losses are nothing to sneeze at with North Shore and I'm forgetting the other one.
Bridgeland, yeah.
Yeah. They have good momentum, and I think exactly like what Coach McDowell said. I think they're figuring it out. Like 6A, I think last year was a little bit of a shell shock for them. I think they had an idea maybe of what they thought 6A would be, and it probably didn't turn out that way. And then you open with North Shore and Bridgeland, and that's just like so. They played Katy to end last year. They had North Shore and Bridgeland, and now I think after those 3, you probably take your losses and lessons that you learned, and now you're kind of applying it, and you're seeing some of the momentum and adapting and adjusting to whatever you feel like you have to as a team and program to this level of play. And I think we're seeing some of that. So I think it's going to keep going. I think it's going to be a tight game. But I think Shadow Creek is figuring, like Coach McDowell said, a lot of things out, and I'm going to give it to them here.
Yeah, Shadow Creek is looking good. They're coming off of a big win over Pearland Dawson, which if you remember the last season, that was the game that Pearland Dawson won in overtime on a field goal to win the district. So they come back and thump them by 14 points this season. I think Duke Butler is starting to figure it out. I mean, you talk about trial by fire. You have to go against Bridgeland and North Shore to open the season. So I think that offense is starting to pick it up. I think Duke Butler is starting to pick it up. And plus, I got to go with the guy named Duke. So I'm going with the Duke. Go with the Duke and Shadow Creek. They win this game. Next one. This is a fun game down in 5A. Brian Rudder comes into this game 6-0, 6-0 overall, undefeated in district play. They take on the Montgomery Bears, who are 5-0 this season and looking really good. I think Dennis, Montgomery just got done beating up on Fulshire last week.
They did.
Is that right?
I know. Dennis was crying on that one.
Hey. I have no favorites.
Have you got your bottle of hair?
I had to get you.
He's riding on that Fulshire train since the beginning of the season.
Hey, when you're sexy and you got it, man. I love my boy. I love my boy Kadudi over there. Shout out to the Fulshire Chargers, man. The Lulu store. Go get it.
Oh, man. So, Brian Rudder versus Montgomery this week. Who do y'all have?
I'll tell you, go ahead.
I'm going to take, I think it's going to be a great game, first of all. Rudder's undefeated right now, playing really well. They beat a good Lake Creek team last week. They took out Huntsville the week before, so they got some pretty good momentum going. We played Montgomery last year, second round of the playoffs. So I have a lot of respect for what they do at Montgomery. A lot of respect for the effort and the intensity that those guys play with. I was at the game last week when they beat Fulshire. That was a good game. I was very impressed by the running back. Number one he's a good running back. He makes a lot of plays, and I think he probably rushed had to be 300 yards last week. So I think he's going to be a handful of stops. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Montgomery. Like I said, I like the way they're playing. I like the intensity they're playing with. And like I said, Brothers are a good team. They're undefeated, but I think they might get their first loss this week versus Montgomery.
Man, I'm going the exact opposite on this one. I'm going Brian Rudder. I think them guys are rolling. I mean, they beat some really, really good teams. I think they believe they can win. I know they've been trying to get to this point forever. I think Fulshire gave Montgomery a heck of a game. Just couldn't kind of convert on some things, but was able to move the ball. Just couldn't tackle that running back. He had a game of his life with 5 touchdowns and stuff.
Yes.
It's hard to repeat, and I think they could probably do it, but I think Rudder is rolling. I just think they're going to be really tough, and I think they got something to prove this year. And so I'm going to go with Rudder.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rudder too. I think Montgomery's defense showed some weaknesses against Fulshire. And I was looking at Rudder's defense. They've only allowed 71 points through 6 games. They probably don't have the offense Montgomery does, but even they're averaging 30-plus points. So I think if they can get stops, which they've proven they can. Montgomery had trouble getting stops. They got off to a great start, 21-3, and kind of rode that. But after the 21-3 start, it was more or less even against Fulshire. Just because Montgomery's defense isn't consistent, has some warts in it, and I think Rudder is balanced and a two-way team. They can play great defense, they can play great offense, and I think that's going to make the difference. Is Rudder's going to have 3 or 4 more stops that Montgomery's not going to be able to get.
Now this is interesting because Brian Rudder's got to come down to Montgomery. I don't know how far that drive is, and Dennis, there's a Buc-ee's on the way, so they might get all sugared up on that Buc-ee stop. I'm just saying, it's a factor.
As you should, as every good
as you should. As you should, because we all know when you see that Buc-ee sign in the air, it don't matter if you're in the 3rd lane over. You're making a 3-lane change to hit that exit. Yeah, he knows. No, you watch. I mean, Buc-ee's advertising is absolutely phenomenal. How many billboards do they have through the state of Texas? You don't even need to look up where the next Buc-ee is. They'll tell you it's the next 20 miles. You're like, all right, kids, we're waiting. We're going to Buc-ee's. So here's the thing. It's at Montgomery, so I think that's going to be a factor. Here's the other thing. Brian Rudder, they don't really have a run game. It's a balanced kind of run game. They don't have that dominant rusher. They have the quarterback, Ezar. He's passed for 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. I think Jalen Washington is the X factor in this game for the Montgomery Bears. Out of 5 games this season, he's rushed for over 100 yards in 3 of them. He went bonkers last week. He has over 700 yards rushing. I think he's a factor. I think Brock Bolfing, the coach's kid, and the senior quarterback is a factor. He's almost passed for 1,000 yards. I think this is the year of the Montgomery Bears. I think they're making a run right now. I think this is going to be interesting. Brian Rudder got past Huntsville in overtime, 31-28, so I'm going to go with the Montgomery Bears. I think they win this game.
Good pick.
I'll say the Washington kid, though, Jalen, Josh, I was looking at his numbers because I thought surely he has, after a game like that, I was thinking surely he has these outstanding, and he does have good numbers, but he has 9 touchdowns. 5 of them came in that one game. And I think of his 780-something yards, 299 were against Fulshire. So I think, I know our boy Caduti, Coach McDowell and myself was saying that the Coach Bolfing was saying the kid just had the game of his life. So that made me think it could have been the Fulshire defense because I don't think basically they haven't seen this consistently from Jalen. So I'm kind of curious if he can put together back-to-back dominant performances like that. He wakes up a lot of people, but I think it's like we need to see that from him. Like if you look at his numbers, a decent amount of those numbers and the production was from that Fulshire game.
200
I think
it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Dennis kind of calling Jalen Washington out here. I might have to tag him in this. He's calling him out. He said, "Yo, you ran for 299. Can you do it again?
I'm
Can
just
you
saying,
do it again?"
I tell you this, you can't run that much and not be run to a stacked box. Like they're gonna have a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna sneak 12 on the field to stop that dude. Like anybody's like, I don't care. You can beat me, but that dude ain't beating me because he can't do it again.
He is a phenomenal athlete. He is amazing. He was fun to watch.
Yeah.
If he does it again, I'm taking that clip and I'm sending it to him on Twitter. Just gonna send it to him. DM. All right, final game. Here we go. Cy-Fair takes on Jersey Village. The Jersey Village Falcons flying this year. Cy-Fair, the perennial power in that district. BFND won state a few years ago. Who wins this one? This is a big one for Cy-Fair. Can they kind of punch back at Jersey Village this season?
I don't think so. I think the Cy-Fair Bobcats, they're in a transition mode, rebuilding a little bit. And I think Jersey Village is on the uptick, especially from the success they had a little bit the previous years. And I know they were young last year and had some success. So I'm rolling with the Falcons of Jersey Village on this one. I think it's a big win. I know it's Coach Snookhouse to be able to beat the Cy-Fair Bobcats. I think that's like everybody's Army-Navy game. You know, when I used to coach at Side Creek, you got to be Side Fair. You know, you got to be Side Fair. So hats off to them if they're able to do it. But I'm going to go with Jersey Village on this one.
I'm going to agree with you, Sean. You know, Jersey Village is undefeated right now. They're playing good football. You know, Side Fair is, you know, not a usual, you know, year for them. They're 2-2 right now and trying to figure it out. You know, still going through that transition. I think it's the second year of a new coach and trying to figure it out. I think Jersey Village just has that momentum going right now, and I think they'll take this one, keep it rolling, and take this one.
I agree. I'm going Jersey Village. I think they have the momentum. I think they know who they are. I think Side Fair is very much still trying to figure that out, and I think that makes a difference in a game like this. So I got the Falcons.
Yeah, what's interesting here is Jersey Village is rolling. You know, they're coming off a big win over Northbrook. I think so far the signature win for them is that 3-point win against Langham Creek early on in the season in week 2. That's a big win for them. Essentially what this is lining up is it's lining up Jersey Village versus Stratford for the district championship come October 30th. I think Side Fair is standing in the way. I know Side Fair, you know, they're kind of thinking like, hey, everyone's talking about Jersey Village, everyone's talking about Stratford. This is our district. This is the district we've owned for so many years. But I think Jersey Village is too much to handle. I think they're a young football team. That's what makes them even scarier. I think both their quarterbacks are juniors and sophomores. Their lead running backs are juniors and sophomores. So this is a really young football team. They're not senior heavy. They're young crew, and I think they're going to go in there. I think they're going to beat Side Fair. And I think in a few weeks on October 30th, I think it's going to be Jersey Village against Stratford for the district championship. And the winner of that will win the district title, which will be a lot of fun. It's 2 young teams. But I'm going Jersey Village over Side Fair. So that's that. That's the pick 'em. America was waiting for it all week long, and we finally gave it to them. So we'll see how we do. We're all a game apart. I'm 2 games back, or 3, 4 games. I don't even know. I'm just chunking Hail Marys.
You're waiting for next. You're building for next season, Josh.
You know what? I'm tanking for the number 1 pick. I'm tanking.
Praying for realignment, right? Praying for realignment.
Please let me not mess up next year. Please. All right. Well, we will let these coaches get to bed. This was a late night edition, thanks to me and my internet problems. So we'll let y'all get to bed. We know y'all get to the school at like 5 a.m., so you're getting these kids rocking and rolling. We appreciate the time. Coach Williams, Coach McDowell, Dennis Silva II. Y'all have a great week. Of course, you can catch Coach's Corner every Wednesday on VYPE Houston, 6 o'clock. Tune in for the great show and pick them to see if we're right or if we're wrong. So we'll see you next week, everybody.